My name's Des Taylor, and today we're going to fish the River Team, which is a favourite river of mine, and we're going to be fishing for barbel, which is a favourite species of mine. I think it's worth mentioning at this stage how the barbel actually got in the River Severn and then finally into the River Team. In about the mid-50s, the River Severn was stocked with barbel, and slowly but surely they spread the system. But they seemed to disappear till about the mid-60s, when the odd fish were being caught. I remember friends of mine at Hampton Load catching fish up to about £6. Then the mid-70s to early 80s was what we call the Severn boom. Barbel were being caught almost everywhere, and massive catches were being caught. £100, £120, £200 were being caught. In fact, in matches, I think the record now is still £111 by Les Taylor, which was from that period of time. But what happened about 82, those catches started to decline. The barbel started to spread south of the river, and they got to the city of Worcester. Now, the city of Worcester, the Team runs in. And this river, slowly but surely, the barbel spread up the river, and then to this day, the big barbel of the lower Severn still use this as their spawning grounds. They've spread right up the river. In fact, although there's a lot of medium-sized fish in this area, as we go farther up the river, we get fewer barbel, but because there's fewer, we can get bigger barbel. Even tributaries of this river, like the River Ree, holds barbel. So now we have a system completely full of barbel. And to be honest, I'm glad, because they're such an exciting species. But enough of the chat. Let's put some bait in and see if we can get some barbel. Right, let's have a look at what barbel eat and what we're going to lay down there. There's all sorts of flavours here, but we'll talk about those later. Let's just actually get the feed out into the swim. I'm not going to fish at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this hemp, casters and luncheon meat out into the swim, leave it, let the fish get onto the bait, let them get confident. If I put the bait in, chuck in straight away, I might even get a barbel, I might get a chub. But when the fish have come on, they're very apprehensive at first. And what can happen, you hook one and you can spook the shoal. Many a time you'll hear anglers say, I went into the swim, caught a fish straight off, then it was dead all day. Well, this is the most important bit now. The preparation, throw it into the swim, get the fish confident, and then come back and fish. All it is just hemp, casters, and luncheon meat. That's what I'm going to be fishing on. I might not fish on the hemp today, we'll see later, but I'll certainly be fishing on the caster and on the meat. I would imagine today, because we had a cold snap last night and it's a very, very low river, that probably casters will be the best bet. But I'll go down on sizes of meat. People think if you're going to fish the meat, you've got to fish a great big lump. You can fish very, very small lumps if you want to. The colder, the shallower, the clearer it is, the smaller the bait. So let's just put the bait in now, and then we'll see if they'll come onto it. It's a simple task. Now, the thing you want to make sure you do is scatter the hemp, because at the end of the day, there's no need at all for this to be in a tight pattern. I hear a lot of anglers say, get it in a tight pattern. Well, if there's a lot of barbel out there, to be perfectly honest, if they're on a tight pattern, all you do is get a load of line bites. Now, I'm going to put this in by hand at first. That's just on the flow over the ledge. Now what I'm going to do, let's get the old catapult and put some further over. So where we go from there. If you look on the corner there, you can see those two stumps that have obviously come down with the floods, I would imagine, over the last couple of years. And what we're going to do is try to get bait, a nice bed of hemp around that area, which I can't reach by hand. So let's see if we can reach it by catapult. There we go. You just can't put enough of this stuff in. For the last 2 seasons on the team and the 7, I've been having a lot of 8-pound barbel up to 11-pound, and my fishing companion has actually taken them to 12-8. And as a standard procedure, we'll use up to 8 pints straight into the swim straight away. Now, a lot of anglers would be afraid to put that much bait in, but I can assure you that 8 pints of hemp in casters is absolutely nothing to either a shoal of fish, whether it be half a dozen or 20 fish, absolutely nothing to those fish to eat in a very, very short time. And if there's a couple of barbel, like down the lower end of this river, and indeed in the 7, then you only need 2 or 3 fish and they'll get rid of all this. Just have a close look at it. I mean, that quantity can be eaten by just a few fish. So put the bed on, and then, as I say, we're going to leave the swim. We're going to let those fish get confident on it. Another couple of shots over there. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put a few pouchfuls in that slack over there as well, because I've no doubt at all there'll be fish in that slack as well as the pitch down there. We've got the mallards taking interest, so I'll just get it in quick. Yeah, they're not getting the hemp, but they'll get the luncheon meat. So I'll have to stop at this moment and get rid of them. As you can see, you get 10 mallards and all they're doing is eating my luncheon meat on the way down. So we'll leave it, let it settle down. This is a typical barbel swim, but it's not the only type of barbel swim. There's a lot of different types of barbel swims, all types on this river. Now, okay, as you can see, the river's actually in a terrible state. Although it looks beautiful, the river is at an all-time low. Certainly, I've been fishing the river for 20-odd years and I've never seen it this low before. But one of the advantages of seeing it this low is I've got a notebook, and what I do, get the old pen, paper, and I'll take notes of areas like this. Now, this area here, although there's no water in now, as you can see, what you've got to remember is when the river comes up, and if you look at these trees here, you'll see the river's been right up to under those trees. And what'll happen, this will be an enormous slack. And most of the fish population will be in this slack. Now, you'll be fishing up there, and you'll be fishing in, well, I'm 6 foot tall, you'll be fishing in 8 foot of water, and the barbel will be down here. Oh dear, look at this. I suppose we'll have to mention it. I don't know why anglers do it. That can only be anglers' litter. You're not even supposed to bring cans onto the bank. If you're going to cut your meat, do as I do. Bring it in your container, your bait container, or in a bag. If you bring it in a plastic bag, don't throw that on the floor, because a plastic bag can do as much damage to a cow as this. In fact, probably more damage. That can choke it. This can cut the animal's hoof. So for God's sake, take this home with you. Don't just throw it on the deck. And if you see it, don't just leave it there and say, well, it's not mine. Actually take it home with you. But as I say, when that's up, we're going to have barbel sitting here on these little ledges. Imagine we can get barbel sitting here, the current's coming round and they'll sit here. You're slinging your bait out, they'll just move out and take your bait. These are superb swims, absolutely superb. And when the river's up, it's no good trying to look at then and imagine what's here then. You won't. Even take photos. I remember Andy Orme saying that he took photos in the summer. And why not? When you can look back at that in the winter and actually know what this swim looks like without watering. And if ever you've wondered why you lose fish in a snag, imagine when the water's up and you're fishing down there and all of a sudden you hook a fish and a big barbel, 5, 6, 8, 10, 12 pounds that in this river, go under those snags, you've got no chance. I'm going to throw that in the bin when I get home. So right, let's start fishing. Nice and comfortable. The old just a level chair, sloping bank, fold the one leg down, and we're nice and level. And we can adjust that for any bank. Get that. Get a rod wrist, couple of rod wrists. Front wrist and a back wrist. One of the problems of the team, a lot of rock, so make sure it's deep, because when a barbel takes, you can pull the rod wrist literally out of the bank. Just put that one there. Oh, there we go. Useful bit of kit this, the old sling. I can put rods already made up so that I can arrive at any time and start fishing. I'm going to start using the feeder first, so we'll just put that there. You notice I've got on the end there a bit of pipe lagging, just protects the tips against trees. What we're walking through. I'll just put that there. Put the rod. First thing, old Dick Walker said it years ago, and I've lived by it ever since. Before you set up, make sure the landing net's up. The amount of times that they say, well, we'll have a sling out before we get the landing net. You hook a fish first time, first cast out, and then you're trying to get your landing net set up, and you lose your fish. So make sure you get that landing net set up first. Right, dead easy to take the hook out. Unravel it. Away you go. And there you go. I'm set up. Minutes. I can actually be fishing while some people are still setting up. Right, let's get a couple of casters. I'm going to be fishing the caster because, to be honest, it was cold last night and I'd rather use a small bait. I'll try a single caster than the piece of luncheon meat. Luncheon meat is my favourite actually here, but let's just try this first of all, and then we'll go over to the meat, because it is warming up. Sun's just about starting to come out, but it's starting to get humid, it's starting to get warm. That water will soon get warm over the shallows, and the water will soon warm up. Right, I've put the hemp in just above it So let's just go on the end of that. There, bang, in we go. Right, dropped off the edge, that's where the fish will be. Down to the bottom. Sit nice and comfy. Here we go. There you go. And let's see if we can get a take. Oh look, knock straight away. Those are going to be small fish. Or could be liners off barbel, you never know. Just little rattles all the time. Straight away on the casters. Could be chub, could be minnows, could be all sorts of things. But I'm really waiting for a wallop round if it's a barbel. Keep striking at those sort of things, and all you do is you keep bringing the line under them. Sometimes you can foul hook a barbel, and you just, if you're starting to get a shoal on there, you can actually disperse them and lose them. And in these conditions, we really can't afford to do that, because it could be hard anyway in these clear conditions. That seems to be hung over a bit. I don't know if there's got a chance of a minnow being stuck on that. That is one of the problems actually on, no, that is one of the problems on in the summer and autumn months, is the minnows in the small river. But then all of a sudden you can get a big bang round, and there you go, it's a barbel. Try 2 casters this time. Let's just keep feeding the swim. Nice if active. There should be fish on there. It's whether they're barbel. Right on the spot of the end. Don't just keep casting all round the swim. Try to keep onto a spot, at least for a few casts. If you decide to move, then move. But I mean, don't just keep casting all round the swim. Little knocks there. It's sort of a standard progression on the hemp, that is. You get the small fish, then you get chub, then you get the barbel. That's rattling a bit. Let's just, yep. Right. Feels like small fish. Slightly running upstream there. Thought it was a roach at first. It's not a barbel, it's not powerful enough. But it's, oh, whatever it is, it's pulling. Oh, it's a chub. Nice little chublet. Look at that. There you go. When you're barbel fishing, you don't just catch barbel. One of the hungriest feeders in the river, the old chubbaroony. There he is. Small chub. Beautiful fish. Come the winter, I'll be happy to catch a fish like that when I'm fishing for the chub. Hook out easily. Oh, look at this mark here. Looks like that's been grabbed by a pike. You see that? Look at that. And the fin split as well. Let's have a look at the other side. Yeah, the slight marks on the other side as well. That's been grabbed by a very, very big pike. There is some good pike actually in the river. Fish up to sort of 15 or 16, they're caught quite regular. That's a nice little chub. Let's put him back in the water. Don't let them swim off until they're plenty of life. Look, there you go. I'm not fishing a match today, so I'm not using a net. There really is no need for a net if you're not fishing a match, especially on barbel and chub, any fish for that matter, because I've no need to keep them, have I? I've not got to weigh them in at the end of the day. So let's go out again. That's a pretty common thing. First chuck you get chub or something like that. Chub, roach, minnow. Let's see if we can get another pull. That's stuck. The feeder. That's better. Good job I've not got false teeth. There we go. That's just stuck on the top. That's from landing the fish. Back out again. Same spot. Bang. Plop. Straight in. Shoot out a few more baits. And see if we've got one silly enough to hang on the end again. Right, at least we've got a few barbling. Thank God for that. Sit down and wait for the old take now. Oh, look at the old cows come down to drink there. It's not the traditional cow drink, but they can get down there and drink. Lovely sight. One of the nice things about fishing the Team Valley. Wildlife and domesticated life by the look of it. Fabulous place. Really is a fabulous place. All we need now is a few barbel. Come on, you devils, try. Come on, pull it round. Just lift up. Sometimes if you move it, you can get a take like that one. Yep, that's a barbel. Coming towards me as well, like a steam train. Coming upstream. Look at this. That didn't run away, thank God. It just ran right towards me. And now it's going to start playing up. Always tell a barbel. Not a big fish, small fish. It's a barbel. Come on, my old son. Ooh. In the weed, and we got a barbel. First of the day. A beautiful fish. It's only a small one. It doesn't matter. It's a lovely fish. Let's take the hook out, and we'll just have a absolutely gorgeous fish. You see the damage there? That can be done by keep nets, and that's why I don't like using keep nets. 4 barbels. There you go. 2 there, 2 at the front. The rubbery lips. That's how he feeds. Brings his head down, his lips down over the bait. Look, sucks it in. Buff, in goes the bait. You've got him. Lovely fins, lovely colour. In fact, the team fish are actually a better colour than the 7 fish. But let's put him back. That came steaming towards me. Lovely coloured fish. Away you go. He's gone. Lovely fish. Let's get back out. We've started small, but it's a barbel. As much as a barbel as a 10-pound barbel. Let's get out there again. Casters. I'll have one more cast with the caster, and then I'll go on a big piece of meat. You never know. Sometimes a bigger bait can produce a bigger fish, but not always. In conditions like this, it's just a matter of getting takes. And we've just had a take, back out. Same spot note. Okay, there we go again. Keep putting that feed in. All the time. Keep putting that feed in. If there's a herd of those small barbel down there, they can see, they could see a gallon of bait off, no problem. So I mean, just keep putting it in. Hopefully a bigger fish will come on, and hopefully we'll get a take from it. But if we can just keep getting takes and we can just keep getting fish on a day like this, we'll be doing well. So let's wait for another take. I think we're on for a few takes. There's obviously a few fish on there. Keep that bait going in. Also important to keep that bait going in, because we've already had a chub, we've had a barbel, there's fish out there, they're eating it. So the bait's got to keep going in if we want to keep them there, or they'll probably live there all their lives, but I mean, if we want to keep them eating, then we've got to keep the bait going in. I mentioned earlier, if we look at the flavours while we're waiting for a take, I fry my luncheon meat, and I fry it two sides of the cube. That makes it easier to stop on the hair or the hook. It makes it much harder in the hot weather. And then all I do, I simply put it in a plastic bag, pour a bit of flavour. Some are sweet flavours like Scopic, some are sour flavours like red crab. Pour it into the plastic bag, blow the plastic bag up, shake it around, flavour gets on the meat, and away you go. Absolutely super way. One of the... oh, I nearly missed that one. That's kiting. Don't feel like a barbel. Swimming upstream. Here it comes. Definitely not a barbel. It feels like another chub again. Yeah, it is a chub. Look at that in the clear water. Lovely. It's a chub. The chub are taking a liking to my baits more than the barbel. That's why I'm going to go on the meat. When I was talking about those when I was talking about those flavours, one of the real advantages of the flavour is he's not in this water. I mean, he's so clear, it's visual anyway. But when the water comes up and it's really clear, then there you go. When it's really coloured, the fish home in onto the smell. That red crab is an absolute fantastic flavour, and in another month's time, when the river's got a bit of colour and a bit of height, then the barbel home in onto that red crab, or mussel flavour or salmon flavour, any of those flavours. But anyway, another nice chub. Not a massive fish, but a beautiful fish. Nice little average. I mean, it's fantastic that, sort of about 7 miles from Worcester, we're in such marvellous scenery, catching such marvellous fish. Wait till he gets strong. I've had big barbel, and sometimes I've had to wait 20 minutes before they go. Make sure they're nice and strong before they go, because in these conditions, low water conditions, low oxygen conditions, you could have a fish in distress. There he goes. Now he'll be okay. See ya. Right, let's put a piece of meat out and catch again. Look at this. Weed for fun. But that's why they're there. There's lots of food in there. And now with my hemp and other goodies in there, they think that's part of the food chain. Clear the weed off. Get another piece of meat. And why I get another piece of meat, let's just have a look a quick look at a couple of other rigs. After you've been barbling a few times, you'll come up with your own specials. What I've done there's actually hemp seed. If we decided to fish on hemp seed, there it is on a hair, exactly the same as I've showed you before, but I've actually glued hemp seed on. That's gone dry. I would have done that when I was going to start fishing, but I've done that to show you today, and the hemp's gone dry. But that can catch a lot of fish. And just a couple of others. One thing that's becoming popular, particularly on other systems, just getting popular on the 7. There's a double boilie on a Drennan bayonet. If we pull the boilies off, look, it's a whipped on bayonet. Absolutely super idea, just coming out by Peter Drennan. And there is one with a single boilie on, and that will catch a lot of barbel. Different materials, that's Christan multi-strand. There's all sorts of materials, Dacron. I don't particularly use Dacron. I like the silkworm braided leaders, and that's what I'm going to stick on the hook now and see if we can get another one. So another piece of meat, break it off. I've fried it on both sides, but if you notice, I've kept it at that length, so when I split it, I've actually got the flavour of the meat coming out. I wouldn't fry them like that in the size that I use, because the frying would seal all the flavour. So there we go. Let's sit down. Forceps back on. Here we go. People say the air rig's too complicated. I don't know what's complicated about it. I mean, it's just stick it through the loop, pull it through, small stick of spaghetti through the loop, pull it through, and there it is. What's hard about that? Nothing at all. Right on the pointer there again. That's where those barbel seem to be shoaled up. So out we go again, smack on. You know, you'd have thought I'd have done that before, wouldn't you? Right. Let's put a few pieces of meat out. I've got a catapult. That one was about 5 foot on the bank, and that one's about a foot on this bank. 1 out of 3. Oh, getting good now. There you go. Thank God there's no cows over that side, they'd be in some trouble. That's it. Right. And for another one. Another barbel. Barbus. It's another small fish, but looks like they're shoaled up enough caught for a shoal of small fish, but I can guarantee you one thing. Oh, it's moving towards me, look at that. Guarantee you one thing. I ain't going yet because there's better fish in here, I know there is. Oh, look. Here she goes. Well, this is what team's about. Catching beautiful fish in a beautiful area. I've caught some big barbel in some awful places, and I'll be honest, I've not enjoyed it as much as catching these barbel in an area like this. To spend a day in a valley as beautiful as the River Team, catching fit fish like this, well, that's what it's all about. Put that back. There you go. That one's as frisky as hell. There you go. Okie dokie. Another bait on. Although there's only small fish in there at the moment, also I'm only catching small fish at the moment, it is a peg that's produced big fish in the past, this season indeed. So I'm not giving up. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop on and I'm going to put a hook in a big one. Perhaps this could be the cast, you never know. I ain't really bothered. I got all the time in the world. I wouldn't say that this is a struggle fishing a place like this. Out again, look. Down you go. I don't care if I've got to stop till dark. I'm hoping the big barbel's got my name on. Right, here we are on the banks of the River Severn. But before we go down onto the river itself to fish for the barbel, and I've just been down, I've just put some bait in, and the barbel are actually turning in the swim. When we get there, hopefully you'll be able to see them. Bronze beauty's just turning in the swim, absolutely fantastic. As I say, before we go down there, I'd just like to take you up to a very famous reservoir right on the banks of the river. What happens is the water is pumped from the river into the reservoir and then over to Birmingham and to the local houses for their water. But as that water was pumped in, have a guess what happened? They pulled the barbel fry in as well, and barbel have grown up to 7 or 8 pound in there. Let's just have a little look at it. We're about here. As I say, the water comes in, then feeds the various areas around with their tap water. And what we've got here, we're just here on the Severn. We're just going to walk up the bank, and just for a couple of minutes, I'll just show you this very, very famous still water barbel venue. We're not going to fish it. If you ever fancy fishing it, it's dead easy to join. Trimpley Anglers. I think it's about 30 or 40 quid a year. Let's go and have a look at it. I'm really getting a bit too old for this, I think. I knew there was a reason why I never joined Trimpley Reservoir. I think it was this. No, joking apart, you can park the car right by the reservoir on the other side. Well, here we are. Some tremendous, tremendous fishing here. Just across there, if you look over the far side, you can see a jetty sticking out there, a pier. That's where the late Peter Raymond and his son caught many, many fine catches to over 100 pounds of still water barbel. Probably the original still water barbel venue. Absolutely fantastic. There's also some very good other fish in there, actually. There's bream, there's carp, and no doubt there's some very big eels, but those aren't seen very often. I'm afraid you can't night fish the water. Anyway, enough of Trimpley. Let's go and catch those barbel that are turning in the swim. Come on, let's go down. And I hope I've got enough strength to tattle up. That's the old Severn Valley Railway, famous Severn Valley Railway. Thousands and thousands of holidaymakers make the trip over the Severn. Bit of English history. So here's the swim I fancy. It's It's a famous peg. It's peg 9 on the Trimpley stretch, and I'll tell you why it's such a fantastic peg. Got some lads over there. You caught anything, lads?
No,
Nothing at all yet?
no.
Oh, that's not good
They're
news.
all over there, though.
Sorry?
They're all over there.
They're all over my side.
Yeah,
Could be worse, they could be all over your side.
yeah.
Right. Let's get the gear down. Right. Let's have a look at this swim. Get the old Polaroid glasses on. What we've got here is sandstone rock, and about halfway across the river, coming this way towards me, we've got a solid rock face. Then it plunges down to about 5 foot. Then we've got about 2 yards of about 4 or 5 foot, and then we've got another sandstone ledge up. So what we've actually got is this gorge running down, and the gorge runs down about, oh crikey, about 20 feet, maybe even 30 feet. We'll start feeding at the top of the gorge, and if you can see there, I can actually see with Polaroid glasses, I don't know if you can see, but there's actually barbel turning over. You can actually see the bronze shapes of the barbel turning over in the swim. So what we're going to start doing is I'm going to start feeding at the head of the gorge first and try and bring the fish up to them. I'm not going down to the bottom of the gorge and sling the feeder straight into the shoal. If we hook a fish then, we could disperse the shoal. What I'm going to try and do is get the shoal to move up to the bait and try to get the fish off the head of the shoal. In this particular swim, I'm going to feed a fish. And to be perfectly honest, although float fishing will catch a lot of fish, barbel, mainly they're bottom feeders, and the methods I've shown you on the team and the methods I'm going to show you today are the main methods that barbel anglers use to catch fish. These are the 3 methods I'm going to use today on feeder fishing. So here we go. This one is an inline feeder, which means it's a Dinsmore feeder with a hole that passes straight the way through the feeder, as you can see. The line passes straight the way through, a shocker bead, then a swivel, then the hook length. Now that hook length can actually be brought even to that length here. Very often when the barbel is shaking the feeder and you're getting very trembly bites on top of the rod tip, sometimes it pays to come very short to the feeder so they're actually picking up the maggots around the feeder. So that's one that I shall be using today. That's the inline feeder. Now the second one, which I don't think I shall be using today, although I will show it you. And the reason that I'm going to show it you, it's a very, very popular way of fishing on the 7, and that's the loop method. What it involves is, as you see, a loop, and the feeder is actually on the loop. You see it? On that loop. Let me just get the loop for you. There's the loop, and it actually is in the loop. Now at the end of the loop, there's another loop which stops it coming down to the hook length loop, which is this one. So it comes down to there, stopped. And then all you do then is in here, you put the hook length. That's called the loop method. It's a very, very good method. The only problem is in rocks, which this swim is full of rocks, that loop can get onto rocks. So I shan't be using that today. I shall be using a very, very simple method. And as anyone knows, if you've watched my videos before or you've read my articles, I'm all for the simple way. Mine's just a standard feeder. There's 1.5 ounce lead on there. It's running straight on the line, down to a rubber shock bead, which pushes nicely over the knot, a swivel, and then I will tie my hook length on. I'm not tying my hook length on yet, because what I'm actually going to do, I'm going to set up there in the swim, and I'm going to probably feed for about 15 minutes, maybe half an hour, and put bait in without hooking a fish. I'm going to get that bait into the swim. I'm going to get those fish confident, and then when they're flashing and feeding, put on the hook length and hopefully catch a fish. So what I'm going to do, set the rod rest up, get in the swim and start feeding the swim. Okay? Right, let's show you the layout of the swim. Fairly simple setup. What I've got is a high rod rest with a butterfly rod rest on the top, so that keeps the rod high in the air, the line out the river. A Drennan backrest in there, so that's my setup. I've got the landing net ready for action, hopefully. I've got a matchman's apron on. A lot of specialist anglers won't put these on for some reason because they look like match anglers. I don't know why, because it makes feeding into the feeder so that much simpler. It's unbelievable. Use mine all the time on rivers, whether I'm float fishing or feeder fishing. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fill the feeder, no hook, fill it up, in we go, like so, and put it in the swim. All those are going to empty into the swim and get those fish confident. That's the whole point of this exercise at the moment. No hook, no hooking fish. Don't go in too early, don't hook the fish too early. Get the confidence first. Here we go. Straight into the gorge. Let it sink to the bottom. Empty the maggots out. Wait about 10 seconds. I'm actually having knocks. Would you believe I'm actually having knocks on the feeder? And there's no hook there. I'm actually having bites. That just goes to prove how many times you can be striking when you think you've had a bite and you're not having a bite at all. Those barbel are coming up to the feeder and actually pulling the bait out of the feeder. I'm actually having takes now. I'm going to do this for 20 minutes or so. I'm going to sort of put probably a pint of bait in there. The amount of people that bring 2 pints of bait to catch some barbel all day, it's impossible. I'll put that in before I start. If you want to catch a barbel, they're very, very greedy fish, use plenty of bait. There you go, straight into the same spot. I'm feeding the top of the gorge first. Can you believe that? That's a dogfish. Quite rare here, but we have a few. Mainly at Aberystwyth, but there is a few dogfish here. Okay, let's have the first cast of the day. We've fed the swim. Hopefully they've gone down on the bait. Early we could see a few fish sort of just showing the flanks, and now we can't see anything. Hopefully they might just have sunk down on the bottom after the bait. So we'll put a couple of maggots on, fill the feeder, and see what's happening down there. First cast of the day, let's see what we can do. Into the gorge. Now that's a proper bite. Yep, that's better. This will do for me. Never underestimate a barbel. One of the points that I always say to people, that you go to net them too early and look at that, turn over and bang, you can lose the fish. He's not ready, not far off. Whoa. There you go, wrong again. Let's see if we can get his nose up this time. No chance. Let's see if we're ready. No, not yet. Maybe this time. Maybe this time. Maybe this time. There you go. Sweet as a nut. Lovely. Not so big. Look at that. Fin perfect. Absolutely fabulous. Let's get him back in the water. It's a warm day. Not too long out the water. Let's just put him back in there. A little rest in there and then we'll put him back. Okay, just keep the feed going in. That's That's the secret with this feeder fishing. Right down the gorge. Although I'm using maggots today, just maggots in the feeder and maggot on the hook, hempen casters are equally as successful on the right day. But at this period in time at the moment, we're catching a lot more barbel on the maggot, so we're doing sort of straight maggot. 2 on a 16, 3 on a 14, 3 or 4 on a 12. And they're going for the white maggot. Flavoured maggot there. Oh, just pulled out of one then. Just pulled out. That was a good take. Another feeder full right in the gorge, right where it counts. Here we go. There you go. Right in the gorge. Back on the rest. That's stuck straight in the gorge. That's a good fish. Good fish. Straight out into the current now, look at that. Straight out into the current. Tremendous scrappers. Tremendous fish. Here we go. I don't think you'll be far away this time. Come on, my old girl. Come on, my old girl. No, 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 he says. No, no, no. Not yet. Not yet. Come on, girl. I'm going to bend into this. There she goes. There she blows. There she blows. Another fine 7 barbel. Tremendous. Have a look at the eating mouth of that. Look at that. There you go. Like Lawrence Blakespeare said, even a small fish like that, look at the piece of luncheon meat you can get down there. Come on, let's get him back. Away. As you notice, we're using light lines, we're using small hooks, 14s, 16s, but we're having no trouble with these fish. And Midland anglers, like myself, have been using these small hooks for good fish, well into double figures for a few years now. It's just a matter of balance tackle. You get the right rod, the right line, and away you go. You can land some tremendous fish. I know a lot of people will think that barbel should be caught on 6s and 8s. Well, I use that for the meat, but the presentation on a maggot, to be perfectly honest, too big a hook. And unless it's at night, which a lot of people don't want to fish at night, then it's quite hard to get a bite on a size 6 or 8 hook when on a 16 you're getting sport like this. This is the last fish of the night now. Those fish are putting so much of a scrap up in these conditions that really what I'm going to do is, after this, I'm going to go home, because I'm playing these fish for 5 and 10 minutes at a time, and even on heavier line they'd still put one hell of a scrap up. And with the water temperature so high, I think it's best to call it a day, for probably me and the fish. Because to be honest, when it's this hot, a nice pint of lager would do good. Oof. There we go. Another absolutely smashing fish. That's took it well down. They're really having it now. Okay. These fish are finding it hard to recover. They're bonny fish, and it's a shame to leave them when I'm catching so many fish. But to be perfectly honest, they're struggling so much to be returned. What I'm going to do is make that the last fish of the day. I'm going to put that back. Come on, my old beaut. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. Come on. Go on. Get back home. Back home. Come on. There you go. Out there to fight another day. Well, hope you've enjoyed your time on the team and the River Severn. Both rivers are full of fish. Get yourself down here and catch a few. They're just absolutely queuing up to be caught. Have a great time like I did. See you soon.